वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. Friends, I am pained to discuss a very critical issue related to the so-called women empowerment and infringement of rights of the women in this country. The classical example of violation of rights of the women in this country is the recent happening whereby one self-styled godman, Rajinder Dikshit, has been accused of sexually abusing hundreds and thousands of minor girls and women in his ashrams under the pretext of giving them moksha. And this incident and these kind of recent incidents have compelled me to share my feelings with all of you. Friends, every political leader and every political party would come to you at the time of elections. They would make tall promises of protection of women and their rights, and they would project and pose themselves to be the only saviors of the women rights in this country. By the time the elections are over, nobody will ever come, or even they will not make a statement on these kind of incidents which are happening in the broad daylight, and the courts have to intervene to arrest these kind of goons who are posing themselves to be the godmen. Every political class and the leaders who are giving patronage to these kind of self-styled godmen would never act against them. They would come at the time of election, they would seek your votes, they would be elected, and they would forget whatever the women rights are, whatever the infringements and whatever the pitiable conditions of women of this country are. Friends, we need to understand that the Rajinder Dikshit, who is accused of raping and sexually abusing hundreds of minor girls and ladies who had been confined in his ashrams, has been arrested only upon the directions of the Delhi High Court. Had there been no directions from the court of law, this godman would have been continuing his illegal activities, and these political leaders would, for the sake of votes, would themselves would go there and they would touch the feet of these kind of godmen for the sake of votes. So how can you expect that these political leaders would be saving and fighting for the rights of the women when these kind of godmen are exploiting and abusing the women sexually, mentally, financially, emotionally, and socially as well? I would like to add few facts which have cropped up in the news reports. There's this Rajinder Dikshit, who posed himself to be Lord Rama, had been telling his disciples that the world would come to an end by 2066, and the young girls, the minor girls who submit themselves to this godman would be saved, else they would have to die. These kind of psychological torture, physical abuse and mental torture had been inflicted in these kind of ashrams, but no media, I would say the paid media, would never come forward to show these kind of reports. They are more interested in live telecasting the swearing in ceremonies and projecting certain class of people or certain leaders. They had always been doing all this thing, but they would never come forward to show that these kind of people who pose themselves to be the self-styled godmen are doing these kind of illegal activities. They had been abusing the women, they had been confining the women in their ashrams, but strangely no political leader and so-called heads of the states would utter a word against such people, because they are to seek the votes at the time of elections. This has, you might have seen all these things in the Sirsa Dera case also, that despite the fact that Dera, head of that Sirsa Dera, was arrested, he was made to come at Panchkula with his supporters, and they were allowed to gather there only because that the political class and the head of the states, of the chief ministers of the parties, are more interested in votes than protecting the rights of the women. And this person, who is said to have 200 deras across 5 states, and many disclosures are being made when the Delhi High Court, on the petition of Delhi Commission for Women, had directed the CBI to register a case and raid his deras, and more revelations are being made that he had been confining the girls inside the deras, and their pitiable conditions were like that they had to be there like they are in the prisons, and they had to wear specific kind of a dress, and they were told that they are the dasis of that government. This is the condition which is prevailing in the deras. But the media and the political class and the people in power are more interested in the personal laws of the minorities. They are more interested in the triple talaq. They are more interested in Anand Karj Act. They are more interested what the Christians are doing. They are least bothered what actually is happening in these kind of deras, and these kind of self-styled godmen, what they are doing in their deras. They are not interested to look into that. Had they been more interested, and the interested like in the religious places and the other rights of the minorities, these kind of these kind of harassments and these kind of incidents might have been curtailed and curbed, had they been interested in curbing such kind of illegal activities being done in these kind of deras. I am pained to share another incident which has taken place, whereby one I would say, I would not say it pornographic, but a sexual harassment of a women employee by one of the Chief Khalsa Diwan organization, which is the premier organization of Sikhs. His chief, Mr. Chadha, had been found to be involved harassing, sexually abusing the women employee, and this CD has again shattered the faith of the people in these kind of religious organizations. And if the people sitting at the helm of the affairs, who are projecting themselves to be the pillars of the religion, if they are involved in these kind of sexual harassment of women, how can you expect the upliftment and empowerment of women in this country? I therefore request all women organizations and all religious organizations, all my sisters, brothers and my mothers, to stand up and expose these kind of self-styled godmen, these kind of people who are involved in denigrating the tenets of Sikh Panth, or the people who are involved in infringement of rights of the women, to save this class of our social creature, who are said to be the mother of the kings. And Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji has rightly said that so kyo manda akhiye jit jamme rajan. The ladies and the women are must be respected, and their dignity should be kept at the highest pedestal. And this can be done only when the women themselves ladies and my sisters and my mothers and all class of women stand up against any kind of harassment, be it a sexual harassment or any other atrocities or any kind of the infringement of their rights. They would have to themselves stand up and fight for their rights. I would also request the governments and the political parties to at least come forward, and media should show some respect to the rights of the women rather than showing the other kind of things, which because they people are more interested in earning the TRP and getting some funds from some people. But they are the fourth pillar of the democracy. They should come forward and expose these kind of people who are involved in illegal activities, and the governments and the people in power should also show that kind of enthusiasm which they are showing in the personal laws of the minorities in these daras as well. And they should pay some heed to these daras so that the respect of the women is saved, and the real empowerment of the women would only be done by protecting their rights, by standing by them, and to expose those people and put them behind the bars so that the other persons who are found in such kind of illegal activities act as a deterrent for them. Friends, despite the fact that the Punjab Human Rights Crusaders Club had been fighting for the rights of the women, apart from fighting against the drug menace and many other rights of the people, be it human rights of the people, be it the child labor, be it the empowerment of the women, or many social issues. Without your support, this cannot be done. And I would request, as a member of a humble member and president of Punjab Human Rights Crusaders Club, that let's join hands for the empowerment of the women and respect them and give them respect and stand by them wherever such anti-social elements are trying to, wherever they are bent upon to sexually abuse them, or some kind of illegal activities are going on, so that the respect of the women is maintained in this country. Thank you very much. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.